Hoiberg will launch the three. Oh, he hits!
Clobber to left field. Another double for Washington. This time it's Nick Kresnak.
But no doubt, two-run, go-ahead homer in the seventh. The bat flip puts the exclamation mark on a comeback.
An RBI knock from Kresnak, who's had an incredible night. Sam Hoiberg, the son of the coach, to steal the bucket.
Welcome back to the sports section. I'm Matthew Mounsey. Our guy Sam Hoiberg is here. Sammy, it's been a little bit of time since the last time we got to talk, but this the first time that we do speak this season with the Nebraska Cornhuskers coming off of a loss. Fall to number 3 Michigan this week. How are we feeling, my man?
Legs are a little tired. We're 2 days post-Michigan game. That was the most minutes I think I've ever played in a game. But I'm really proud of the way we battled. I know the fans are up in arms about the officiating and everything, but at the end of the day, it came down to us not making enough plays, and we battled hard, man. That's a tough environment, and you go on the road without Rienk, probably your most important player, Frager, one of your most explosive scorers. It was a hell of an effort, and not a loss that we're going to come off, really depressed about or anything. Obviously, it stings to get that first loss. You want to be the last undefeated and everything, but we're in a great spot, and we got another big one on Sunday that we're really looking forward to.
39 minutes and 14 seconds, by the way. I got the box score up. It's a lot of time.
Yeah, the legs were a little gassed. I was actually cramping up with about 12 minutes to go. I got a bucket in my legs, both of them. Kind of felt that lactic acid build up right before you're about to cramp, and then the media timeout. I took it's called the right stuff. I don't know if you've ever had that. Like a little salt packet thing, and it burns. It burns like you're taking a shot of whiskey or something. And then I was pounding fruit snacks. And it got rid of the cramp, but I did not have the best stomach feeling coming out of that timeout for a second.
I remember in high school football when guys would chug mustard or pickle juice was the other one. Have you ever done any of that?
I'd done pickle juice once, but yeah, it's anything with high salt content, but they make those, it's called the right stuff. It's like sports intended, and you take one before every game, but our nutritionist Jake gave me one during that timeout, and it did fix me. I wasn't having any cramp problems after that, but it was pretty gassed at the end there, and I'm just, we were in it. We had the game and just came up a little bit short, unfortunately.
Well, you stuffed the stat sheet as usual. 13 points, 7 boards, 5 assists, 4 steals, 4 fouls. Just kind of doing it all. But what I was getting a lot of text during this game, and kind of what I've been saying since the end of that Michigan game, the first half of that game was my favorite half of college basketball I've watched all season, because it was just a complete fucking track meet.
Yeah, it was a fun half. Obviously, it's not fun when you don't get stops, but we were scoring really well, and you don't have two of your best offensive players, so that was a bit of a worry. And we had it rolling. Our movement was really good. Our pace was amazing offensively, and it's really tough to guard us regardless of who's on the floor if we're doing that. And I think we ran out of gas a little bit in the second half. We didn't quite have that pace. Credit Michigan, they stepped up their defense in the second half, but it was a fun first half. And like I said, we battled, man. It was a tough game, and when we can replicate that pace the rest of the season, I think our offense is going to be in a great spot.
Well, I think the craziest part of the entire game from my perspective was that Michigan went into halftime shooting 65% from the field, and they were losing. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Well, yeah, so we keep track of every media timeout. It's like a 4-minute game. We keep track of 4-minute games, and we want to keep the team under 7 points or 7 points or less every media. And I think the most we've given up in the media is about 15 points. And I think the second media, we gave up 20 to Michigan, and we were still winning.
Yeah.
So that was, it was definitely, it was a tale of two halves with the game, obviously, with high octane offense in the first and then gritty defense in the second. But it's a fun game to be a part of. And, your goal in the season isn't necessarily to go undefeated, and you learn a lot from losses. And we're going to learn a lot about our team with how we bounce back on Sunday.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, of course you want to go undefeated and you want to win every game, but I don't think that you guys were necessarily expecting to be 20-1 at any point this season just because you lose games in college basketball. You get outplayed sometimes. Sometimes you beat yourself. And really nobody ever goes undefeated. Like, sure, it's happened a few times, but you guys aren't too down after that loss, right?
No, and especially because you're playing, the number one team in net, number two in Ken Palm, I believe, and number three in AP. Like, that's a game that's going to be tough regardless. And the first time we played a team higher than our current ranking at 5 all season. So we knew it was going to be tough. And it really just stings because we had, a hold of that game pretty much the entire time, led like 38 minutes or something like that, and then weren't able to come up with the win. But yeah, you can't get too down about it just because you know that that's how basketball goes. And there hasn't been an undefeated national championship since like the 1970s with Indiana. So that wasn't necessarily the goal to go undefeated. Like you said, you try to win every single game, but the biggest step for us is bouncing back after a loss and not letting it become a losing streak.
Just to give some numbers for the people out there, we still need a name for our fans, by the way. We had people in our YouTube comments saying that they wanted a name, but we didn't have any suggestions. We need you guys to help us out a little bit.
Yeah, let's get some suggestions.
So just to run through a couple numbers, if anybody missed this game, go back and watch the highlights because it was freaking awesome. You guys did lead for 36-18. They led for 2 minutes and 3 seconds, 50-48 in the first half. They score 27, you score 22 in the second half. You shoot almost 60% in the first half, they shoot 65%. And then you outshoot them in the second half, 32%, far below what is the norm for you guys. 1 of 13 from 3 probably didn't help that, but they only go 6 of 24 from the field. And it was that free throw disparity that we've seen a lot on Twitter and that you mentioned Husker fans have talked about a lot. It's tough to blame refs for any loss, really ever, in my opinion. I always kind of feel like you could have done something different. And of course you didn't lose because of the refs, I don't think. But you guys shot 4 foul shots all night. Price took all 4 of them. And then Michigan went 19 of 23 from the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think the free throw differential doesn't really bother me, to be honest. With their size on the interior, you have Johnson, who's just a monster, probably 6'10", and built and athletic, and then Mara, who's 7'3", and they're just deterring everything away from the rim. There's a reason we didn't go to the free throw line. I don't think they missed many calls offensively that was the reason for that. And then, with their size and their rebounding ability on the other end, that's why they got to the foul line and got the bonus in both halves and were able to shoot more free throws than us. So that was not really a thing for me in that game, was the free throw differential. You looking at it, it doesn't look great. And you sure there were missed calls, but that happens on both sides. So we're never going to blame the refs for a game. And sure, there were frustrating calls. That charge I took probably should have been a call on someone. And there's not a lot of charges in college basketball in general. So I could have been fouled out very easily in that situation. We'll leave it up to viewers to decide if it was a block or charge. But um, yeah, I mean, we don't want to blame the refs, and it's a tough job, and we know that. So we're not going to come out of that game just making excuses. We know we have to get better and earn the next win.
Well, and this might be more from a fan's perspective as well, but it is pretty encouraging to see you guys leading the number 3 team in the nation for 36 minutes without Rienk and Braden Frager. I guess we haven't really gotten to that part yet, but Rienk goes down with the flu, pretty close before the game. I remember I was talking to Charlie, I think the day before, and he was like, yeah, Rank's not feeling great. Like, we're hoping that he can go, but unfortunately isn't able to. Braden Frager still coming back from that ankle. But your offense runs through Rank for the most part. How big, I guess, is that to lose him for that game? And is it encouraging going forward, knowing that you'll have those guys back?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the trend of the last few games, Rienk would admit it himself. He's been in a little bit of a slump lately, and we've played really good minutes without him, and I think that prepped us well for that Michigan game. And he was actually completely fine the day before. He must have been texting Charlie the day of because he
Maybe.
was in my room. We were watching the BYU Arizona game, both doing the Normatec boots, and he was completely fine. Then went to bed, and apparently he was up all night throwing up and having the runs. So he didn't get much sleep. He got some IVs during the day and tried to give it a go, but he was just feeling terrible. And he was still struggling yesterday, even, and feeling a little bit better today, which is encouraging for this weekend. But yeah, I mean, he got hit hard with the flu, so that was unfortunate timing for him. And just a game you want to be a part of. And Rick is, I think he's the most important player on our team as a leader standpoint, as the offense flows through him. He's such a good defender that people don't realize with his communication out there and his ability to get stops at the rim, even though he doesn't get many block shots. So not having him was huge in that game, and he could have pulled some of those bigs out to the 3-point line, which would allow us to get more rim attempts and maybe get more free throws. So that really hurt to not have him, and then especially when our offense went cold in the second half, missing Frager who can go get a bucket and make some dynamic plays in there, that hurt us. And it definitely is encouraging to what you were saying with you know we were able to hang with number 3 team at their place in an amazing environment and still almost pull off that win. But at the end of the day, it's an L on the schedule, and you got to make up for it if you want to compete for the league.
Yeah, and I was texting you about it earlier. I think that you guys are going to get to see that team again, whether it's in the Big Ten title or in the Big Ten tournament or potentially the NCAA tournament. It seems like we're probably going to get to see that one run back, and I really hope we do because that was one of the best games of the year.
Yeah, I mean, when you play a team like Michigan that's so highly rated and their Ken Palm efficiencies at some points of the season have been some of the best in history. So you just want to get a chance at them with your full team. And, we didn't get that, obviously. So getting another shot at them would be great. And, hopefully it's really late, maybe in April or something like that. That's the goal.
Yeah, talk to me about that Michigan team because they've been so highly touted. They are a top 3 team in the country, have been all season. What impressed you from that group?
Yeah, I mean, just their sheer size and athleticism. They're so hard to stop when they get deep in the paint because they can throw it up tomorrow. You can just basically tip it in. And they got Morris Johnson, who's one of the best players in the league and just a monster going for every single rebound. He had a double-double against us and, knocked down his free throws, even made a 3. Lendeborg is dynamic. Don't need to speak too much on him just because everyone knows how good of a player he is, and Cadeau sets it all up. I thought we had really good hand activity and pressure to force them into turnovers. We had, like, 13 steals or something like that, which is big time when you're playing a team like that. But, yeah, I mean, they just are such a good team and have so many players that can come in and make an impact, and that's the reason that, they've blown out some really good teams.
Well, and even without rank, you guys played great defense on Yaxel Lendeberg. He goes 3 of 10 from the field, 0 of 6 from deep. Put in a couple at the line, had 10 points, but that's below his average for sure. You guys did a really nice job. I thought kind of trying to stop his momentum seemed like he was never really able to get like back-to-back good looks. The game plan definitely seemed like it worked, and you guys have had great halftime adjustments throughout the season, and I think that Dusty May kind of matched the halftime adjustments that your dad did because both defenses were so much better in the second half. This is a little bit of a sidetrack, by the way, but I'm sure that you saw it. Pretty cool to see Seth Greenberg compare you to Fernando Mendoza. Didn't know that you were going to get that comp this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that one. He was really the leader, the guy that he looked to. He won the Heisman, best player on that team. So I don't know if I'll fully agree with him on that one, but I'll certainly take the compliment. And we want to make it as far as they did. But it's cool hearing that stuff from Seth Greenberg. I watched when I was a little kid on College Game Day and talking about you, and especially comparing you to a Heisman winner. Like I said, I don't know if that suits me perfectly, but I will certainly take the compliment.
Yeah, definitely very cool. You guys do now have back-to-back ranked matchups. Illinois coming to your place on Saturday or Sunday? Sunday?
Sunday.
You guys have already seen them once, beat them in Champaign. What are you looking forward to this weekend, getting to see those guys again?
Well, I mean, they're playing at an unbelievable level right now, as good as any team in the country. Keaton Wagler's playing like the Big Ten Player of the Year as a freshman. I mean, 46 points at Mackey is unfathomable, and that place is so hard to play. They went in there, got to win without maybe the heart of their team and Kylan Boswell, who won't be playing against us, which I think is very fortunate for us because he kills us with the way he rebounds and the way he guards. He really shut down Price in the second half that first game we played against them. We're going to see a different team than what we saw early on, and it's the same thing for them. Every team improves from early in the season, but they're playing at a really high level right now, and they're not afraid to go on the road and get a win. As I just said, they won at Purdue, and I mean, it's just going to be an absolutely electric environment. I'm really looking forward to that one, and just being a part of another huge game.
Good to be back in your home building, I'm sure, with the highest ranking in program history. I guess we didn't really mention that, but up to number 5 in this week's AP. It's hard to imagine you guys dropping at more than maybe a spot or 2 after the Michigan loss, but top 5 is pretty cool. I was not expecting that when we started the show at the start of the season.
Yeah, it's an amazing accomplishment, and I think my dad spoke on it in a presser. Like at this point, sure, you get a milestone, getting the highest ranking in program history, but it doesn't mean anything. And you're just playing to win games at this point. And it sounds cliche, but it really is just one game at a time. And if we beat Illinois, then maybe we won't drop. But if we do, it won't affect us. And we're just going to keep playing the same way we have all year.
So you mentioned right before Illinois and about how they guarded Price. And that kind of reminded me of the game before against Minnesota, where you guys struggled a little bit in the first half to get things going and then completely pulled away in the second. And I remember watching pretty closely because I thought that Minnesota did the best job out of anyone that I've seen this season against Price in the first half. Whoever it was just flying around face guarding him, and he couldn't really touch the ball at all. Had 2 points in the first half and then goes for 20 in the second. Can you maybe like simplify that a little bit for people, like maybe what they were doing and how you guys kind of responded to it and why he was able to go fucking nuts in the second half?
Yeah. So Langston Reynolds was the guy that was on him, and he's a pit bull, man. Like, he's one of the guys that people have talked about as potential defensive player of the year in our league, and obviously, like, I want to get that nod, but he was in those conversations and still is, of course. But he was doing an amazing job on Price. He stayed attached. He blew up screens, and I think with the way we run our offense, and we were down Frager that game, but we had a little bit more legs in that one. We didn't have to play the entire game. Basically, I think Price and I both played 39 minutes against Michigan, but with the way we run our offense for Price, you got to chase him around screens the entire game. And Coach Medved for Minnesota talked about it. It's not a 20-minute job on Price; it's the whole game, and we're able to free him up. I'm sure. I don't know if that's 100% the case, but I'm sure Reynolds got pretty gassed, chasing him around screens the whole game, and we finally freed him up. And it's one of those guys that when he gets one to go, it can get rough in a hurry for you. And he made some free throws to start the second half, and I think that's what kind of opened it up for him. And then he got a nice roll on a three to start the half, and then it was all of them were going in from there. But that's the luxury of playing with a guy like Price.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention the 3 that really got him going. I think he might have missed the first one he took out of halftime, and then the next one, he comes around a screen, pulls it from the top of the key, goes front rim, backboard in. You're not supposed to get those on the road, but holy smokes, and then lit it the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean he's just one of those guys that, like, once he hits one, he can tag 12 on you in a minute, and then he keeps it going. It's just it's disheartening when you're guarding a guy like that, and we've seen him do it in practice all year. I think there was practices where he started like 9 for 9 from 3, and you're just like, "What do we even do on this guy?" So he's been unbelievable for us as of late, and yeah, he's just one of those guys that once he finally hits one, like, it's gonna get hot in a hurry.
Friend of the program, Price Sanford, by the way.
Shout out Price.
Shout out. Yeah, I was talking to one of my buddies, maybe it was during the Michigan game, and honestly, I don't feel like this is that much of an exaggeration. I don't remember anyone at the college level over the last few years that has as quick of a trigger as Price. He gets it in and out of his hands faster than I think anyone I've ever seen. And I put it in comparison with like a Steph Curry on just his timing and his release. Is that fair?
I think it's 100% fair. I can name one guy that had as quick of a release last year, and that was his brother, Peyton Sandfort.
Yep.
They had the same shot mechanics. But yeah, whatever they did growing up, I don't know if they did it at Iowa or if they just did it growing up with in the backyard or something, but it's like as soon as it's almost like before he even gets the ball, he's in his shooting motion and it gets off so fast. There's nothing you can really do as a defender if he gets a little space. And like I said, that's the luxury of playing with a guy like Price because I mean, I wasn't making dynamic passes or anything against Minnesota. I was kind of hitting some simple plays to Price and other guys, and he just hit shots and ended up with career high in assists that game. Just because you play with a guy that's so good and he gets it off so quickly that he can make you look good.
Yeah, I think we kind of buried the lead a little bit. We've been seeing one all the time, baby. I mean, it's fun when you got the double digits going. The confidence is there. Uno's here, man.
Yeah, well, Uno still has not made an appearance. Uno is 20 points, which we thought we were getting against Minnesota. I think Uno was out in that first half with 14, and Sam came back and just blew it. But it's Diamond. Sam makes good passes. Anyways, one has been out and ready to go lately, and it's been fun. Scoring's fun. I haven't been a scorer much in my career, so being able to fill it up a little bit, feeling a little bit more like high school again, what Charlie has been saying, and he's given me that confidence. So hopefully, one can stay out and keep playing.
Yeah, I was texting somebody during that Minnesota game, and I was like, honestly, my assessment of that first half, it was a poor offensive half compared to what we've seen from you guys. And like the 50 that you put on Michigan in the first half, you kept the team in the game offensively, kind of in the same way that Jamarcus did in that Michigan game for the first 10 minutes. And you had 14 at the half. I remember I was texting somebody. I was like, yeah, his career high is 18. I think that might be in trouble today. But you got some games where that is fully attainable here shortly. I think we're gonna get to see Uno and get that 20 piece at some point.
The confidence has definitely made a jump, and the volume on threes is going higher, which has been one of the main things with me and, my kind of mental battle with shooting is I haven't taken many threes, and that's sometimes where you see the percentages drop. So I've been feeling really good about my shot. I've been working on my game and starting to shoot it more confidently. And I'm only trying to keep continuing that confidence. I still think there's another level that can be unlocked. And, Charlie's been a really big part of that, and he knows it too. So we're still working for it. Um, and I think if I'm able to unlock that, we'll see Uno out here eventually.
And so you mentioned the Minnesota guy that was guarding Price. What was his name again?
Langston Reynolds.
Right. And talked about him being in the Big Ten DPOY conversation. Now I remember we talked about this like the first week of the season and about how we were, as the media, the very respected media outlet, no bullshit from this place, about how we were going to start propaganda for Sam Hoiberg, first team all defense in the Big Ten. That's not a question for me right now. I think we got to start the DPOY narrative. It's not propaganda at this point. You're in the mix. You lead the conference in steals, man.
Yeah, I mean we are obviously trusted media, so I believe this can maybe push that narrative a little bit more. But we have a very good defense, and I feel like I'm a big part of that. and I've been getting steals, and I got to keep it up. Obviously, I'm not going to say that I can just stop guarding now, but hopefully we can push that narrative enough to make it happen. At least be in the conversation to where it's not, will I be on the team? I want to be recognized as one of the best in the league, and I feel like with the body of work I've shown so far, I can be in that conversation, and let's keep pushing that narrative.
We'll make sure to get it out there, keep things rolling here on the platform. Have we talked since the Washington game? I don't know if we have. But you took
I
down my
don't believe we
dogs.
did. I think that was
Okay.
right before Washington.
Yep. Well, I
Yep.
had I had the
I
Huskers
mean,
get
that was
on.
that was the motivation. That was the
It should
motivation.
have
We had to
been.
get that one done for you, Mounsey.
I appreciate that, you
And
know?
one
It takes
one came out, one was ready to go.
indeed, it takes a lot to turn away from your childhood team, but I'm all in on the Husker wagon. And I remember we texted briefly after the game about Hannes Steinbach, who looks to be one of the 2 Big Ten Freshman of the Year contenders with Braden Frager in my mind. How good was he? I remember you saying that you thought he was one of the better players in the league.
Yeah, he's kind of a different player that I feel like I've ever faced before, and just the fact that, like, if he's over the top of you on a rebound, he's getting that thing. Like, his hands are so big that if he gets a hand on that ball or if he gets both, good luck ripping it out. He's strong. I mean, he looks like a grown man as a freshman, and he goes after that ball, and he's got good positioning. I think he's got a good feel for where the ball's coming off the rim, and that's why you see him get so many rebounds a game. And he hit some shots against us, and I think Washington has a great coach and Danny Sprinkle. They run some good stuff for him, and I think he certainly is going to have a bright future.
They definitely kept it a lot tighter with you guys than I thought they would, just because I had watched a couple of their games prior this season. Did you happen to realize that they ran the cover play at the end of the game?
They ran the what?
They ran the cover play at the end of the game.
It's the cover play.
They ran a play to cover the point spread.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I don't gamble, so I don't know the terminology.
I
But
know.
yeah, I know. I think Kale got some hate mail because he had that turnover at the end of the game. He missed a shot and kind of allowed them to cover the spread.
That's what it was. So you guys had all been pulled, and I think it was the pretty much the full second team, and Kale's bringing the ball up like kind of on the sideline in the backcourt with 20 seconds maybe on the clock, and they just run like a sideline trap and end up getting the ball and cruise to the bucket for a layup. I think you guys won by 9. Spread was 9.5. I want to say. I know that you guys aren't concerned about that, but it was just hilarious. I got a couple texts about that from my UW buddies saying that they ran the cover play, so they were okay with it. So looking at the rest of the Big Ten, you guys, Michigan State, Michigan, all 9-1 in conference. We talked about how freaking good Illinois has been playing over the last week or two. They're 8-1 in conference, but Purdue's right there too, and has been a top ranked team all season. And besides that 5-game stretch to kind of start Big Ten play, this stretch of conference feels like it has a lot of substance to it. You had at Michigan, you have Illinois at home, and then do you go to Iowa and then Purdue at home?
I haven't looked that far ahead in the schedule, but this is definitely like a telling stretch and a huge one that will have impact on the final standings. So, we're fully locked in. We would have loved to get that Michigan one that would have put us, alone at the top of the leaderboard. But if we're able to pull off some of these wins and give some of the higher ranked teams a loss, that's going to help us out. And we're fighting for that Big Ten title now. So these games really do matter. And it's a position we haven't been in before. So it's really exciting, but we're just going to keep taking it one game at a time, like I always say. And, you got to win every single game. You can't let any slip ups happen. Just because you're playing the top teams in the league doesn't mean the rest are going to be easy. So we got to stay locked in here for the stretch, and we want to pull this thing off.
It's Rutgers, by the way, not Iowa. You have to go to New Jersey. That's going to be a fun.
Piscataway, beautiful town.
Yeah, but you do have pretty much a week in between Illinois and Rutgers, so a little bit of another kinda mini bye, sort of. You guys do have 5 days in between games right now, getting those legs back under you, but yeah, and I know you guys don't look too far down the schedule, but just for the viewers at home, after that, it is a significant decrease as far as the level of competition goes. After that Purdue game, Northwestern, Iowa, Penn State, Maryland, USC, UCLA, Iowa again to finish the season, and then going into the Big Ten tournament in Chicago. But you got to go to um, kind of that Midwest area. I got to go to Illinois and Minnesota back to back, and what it was like, wasn't it like -30 feels like temperature or something?
Yeah, and so it was, I think, -30 in Minnesota. There was protests going on down the street, and it was a complete mess. The message was stay inside the hotel, and that was certainly received. We didn't leave, and we played at 11 a.m., but, the plane situation was messed up. We had to sit in the barn, and we were actually watching that Purdue-Illinois game on our phones, um, at Minnesota Stadium, just waiting for the plane to get to Minnesota, but it was freezing, man, and it's been freezing in Nebraska too. It felt like, I think it was 20 degrees today, and it felt like it was 60.
We call that a mechanical around here. That's from the SV pod for anyone that listens to Scott Van Pelt and Stanford Steve. They love to talk about the airline problems, and it's just mechanical. Anytime anything goes wrong, they just tweet mechanical, and it's fucking hilarious. But you guys end up getting back to Lincoln. Too bad you had the mechanical in Minneapolis or St. Paul, wherever they are. But yeah, I guess not the most exciting town right now for sightseeing compared to maybe some other stops that you might go in the Big Ten. But got to feel nice to be back at home now in front of that crowd. I know how tough it is to go on the road, and you mentioned the Michigan crowd, but those back-to-back away games don't seem like the most fun stretch. What has been the biggest difference that you've seen so far in terms of like your home crowd to these really good venues on the road? Even Minnesota looked rocking.
Yeah, I mean, every game has been rocking that we played in. Northwestern, actually, I think there was more Husker fans than Northwestern fans, which was unbelievable, and that really helped us in that game. But at home, the crowds have just been absolutely nuts. That Michigan State game was probably the loudest I've ever heard PBA, and every game the rest of the season is sold out, and I fully expect this Illinois game to be as loud as any. It's gonna be absolutely ridiculous in there. Michigan was extremely loud, especially because it's such a close game, and they made some big plays at the end of the game. Minnesota gets very loud. The barn is old school, and it's got a metal roof, so even if it's not fully packed out, which it was rocking in there, um, it gets really loud in that place, and they had it rolling in the first half, so something you just have to kinda weather the storm, and, yeah, I haven't seen a crowd or heard a crowd as loud as PBA this year, and it's been unbelievable to have that.
All right. Well, before we kind of move on and get to the rest of the show, I do have just a little bit of brief show notes for our viewers, those that watch the video either on Spotify or YouTube. And while you're there, make sure you hit the subscribe while you're thinking about it right now. Follow us, like everything, do all that stuff. We've gotten some great feedback on the set. I've definitely enjoyed kind of what you're looking at here. But an unfortunate, I guess semi-fortunate announcement. This is going to be the last show at the desk for me in this current setup. Not Can't necessarily speak 100% on it publicly yet. I will for our next show, but I am going to have to take next week off because I am moving next week. Got a job, so can't announce it yet exactly what it is on the pod, but I'm moving. So this is going to be the last show at this set. I do appreciate everyone's feedback on the set. I think it's definitely served its purpose well, but wherever we end up, we'll be able to recreate something. It'll look good for our viewers out there.
Yeah, I will say you got top 5 set in the game. It's sad to see it's going, but I'm sure you're gonna cook up something better. Maybe it'll be top 2 at the new place.
Hey, well, we're gonna get something going. I've got some creative juices flowing. Kind of need to get there, see the set, see what we're looking at, and then we'll be able to create something.
Now, this is the first time I've heard of the moving. Is this a bittersweet thing? Is this a really happy thing? Is this a sad thing? How are we feeling about it?
Yeah, definitely not a sad thing. I've For those that might not know at this point, I've been in Austin for like the last 6 months since about August. Hasn't really been my favorite spot, honestly. I much prefer the Dallas Fort Worth area where we went. I guess me and Charlie went to TCU. I haven't loved Austin. I'm not really gonna miss it too much. And although I do love this set, it does take up pretty much my entire studio apartment. So I'm looking forward to a new start, a new chapter in this broadcasting journey that Sam and I have started. And speaking of, I saw that you called another women's game last night, right?
I did shout out the women's team. They won by 16. It was an odd game. There's 45 fouls called total. A lot of time to talk on the radio during free throws, but it makes fun. We just kind of talked about random stuff. We're not on the main feed, and I didn't really promote this one, so I don't think we had a ton of viewers, which I kind of prefer right now in this early stage. But it's been fun to get out and do it. I'm going to call a high school game next week, which should be fun, and just keeping this thing rolling, getting more reps at it. And I'm in a broadcast performance class right now, and that's been really fun. The community of the broadcasting school at Nebraska is so cool. Like I didn't know like how much of a community it was until I got in this class with my professor, who's really got me into the color stuff and helped me with getting games. He's put me on and called games with him in the classroom, just like mock games. But once I got into class with him, I realized how much the community is. It's really tight knit. They're all great friends. Um, they went to this place called the Big Ten Sports Bar for class. That's where they did attendance during our Michigan game,
Nice.
and they were all just there watching the game with the professor. And uh, it was funny. They took a photo together, and they put the text over it. Sam is excused. And they sent it to our SID. They were thinking about putting it on the Peacock broadcast. It never got put on there, but that would have been pretty cool.
That would have been awesome. Yeah,
Shout out to J School in Nebraska. I'll just put that out there.
shout out to all the men and women over there. Yeah, that's definitely a thing that I feel like I have learned, and I think you'll appreciate it more, like, the more and more games you do, is the broadcasting world is so small that everyone kinda knows everyone in a sense or knows who each other is, and it is really supportive, and I noticed that at TCU too. Like, it does create a really cool community for sure.
Yeah,
Have
it's
you
been really cool to like get to know everybody, and I'm still trying to fit myself in with everyone because they're already like great friends, but they've took me in, and uh I've enjoyed making new friends with that. So it's been fun.
have you, like, noticed yourself getting better game to game, you think?
Yeah, for sure. I was a little bit rusty, I think, at the start of yesterday's game. And, with our schedule and how hectic it's been, I did not have a lot of time to prepare. So that was unfortunate for yesterday's game. But even the second game I did, I felt way more comfortable and noticed I was getting better. And that I just know that every single game's going to keep getting better. And it's something you can improve on and get better at, which is a big draw to getting into that field. So it's been cool to see the improvement and just feeling more comfortable as I go.
So you mentioned a second ago about the Peacock broadcast on your guys' game against Michigan. I got 2 things on that. First, it was a complete fucking travesty that that game was on Peacock in the first place. I know that broadcast schedules are made, like, way in advance, but come on. Number 3 versus number 5 on Peacock instead of ESPN, which it probably should have been on, or Fox, whatever. And sorry to Nick Stauskas if you end up hearing this, but I'll own this. This can be my take. But yeah, he was definitely a big homer, which didn't help, and I think even for maybe a more independent fan, it probably came across pretty heavily. Like, there were a couple reviews. Every review was very, very partial, and especially, there was a play that they went to review, and they were reviewing it for a flagrant on you guys. I forget who it was, but it was kind of like a sweep through where an elbow sort of, like, came up under the chin, um, and they decided to keep it they called it offensive on the court, I wanna say, but they didn't call a flagrant, and Stauskas was going nuts about how it should have been a flagrant 2. He was talking about ejections, and then the refs stood with the call on the floor as a common foul. And after that, I was like, "All right, Nick, like, we gotta rein it in a little bit here."
Sure. Yeah, and I don't wanna be part of any drama or anything, but I did see some tweets about it, and, I'm sure he'll get better. Everyone gets better. I was pretty terrible in my first game, so, uh, we'll move on from that.
Yeah, we'll see how much of that made the air. I'm sorry, Nick. Yeah, you wanna move on?
Let's move on.
Alright, well, Nebraska plays Illinois on Sunday at home. Let's do our, random basketball player segment that we still don't really have a name for, but we're just gonna talk some ball, talk about some guys that we used to like to watch. You want me to go first on this one?
Yeah, what do you got?
I've got a little bit of a throwback across the board for you today. Older guy here, Andrew Bogut is first.
Oh, Andrew Bogut. See, I wanna say St. Mary's just because he's Australian, but I don't feel like he went there.
It would make sense. Randy Bennett did not get Andrew Bogut.
I feel like it was a big school. Am I right there?
It was a big school. Yeah, is a big school, like size-wise.
Is it California school?
It's not, but it's a Pac-12 school. I'll give you that. Former. Shout out to the
Oh,
Pac. Rest in peace,
was
Bill
he
Walton.
was he Arizona?
No, but you're in the right region.
Utah?
Utah Mountain School.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that. I didn't know that at all, so I'll take that. All right, I have some tougher ones here,
Okay.
and I'm gonna start easy, especially if you played the game that he was on the cover of. Blake Griffin.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, okay. I was hoping you'd get that one.
Yeah, what was he on the cover of?
NCAA 10,
I was gonna say
the
'08.
last one.
Okay.
Yep,
I think I had it on
great
the Wii.
game. Yeah, we had it on the Xbox. We still have the Xbox up at our lake house, and we play it from time to time. But that was a great game.
I was a 2K13 kid on the 360. That's my favorite game.
2K13 was one of my favorites of all time. That was one of the last 2Ks I really grinded.
Yeah.
I remember the thing I love doing like the create a player, like my player, but that game had the create a legend where you could just play the career of any player in basketball history, basically, that they had on the game. And I probably made 80 different ones. It's just like play 20 games with one guy, get bored, go do another one. Like I would be Zach Randolph to freaking George Gervin, like just the most random players, and then just dominate. That was a fun game mode. Bring that back, 2K. I don't play 2K anymore, but bring that one back.
Yeah. There was also a thing on that 2K13 with Darren Williams from the Nets, and he was just broken. Like, he might have been the best player in that game. He was probably like a 92 overall, but I remember I had a couple games where I would score like 100 with Darren Williams.
He was a beast. So he wasn't that good, but he was a beast.
He was the
Illinois,
man. He went to Illinois?
Illinois, I believe.
I didn't know that. There you
All
go.
right, hit me with another.
All right. Big old school on you here. Doc Rivers.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. Is it a big time school? I'm hoping.
Ish. It depends on the
How
year.
how the hell am I gonna get Doc Rivers, Mounsey?
Yeah, you probably won't get this, but yeah,
What
I don't know.
conference?
Uh, the Big East?
Georgetown?
No.
I give up on this one. Xavier?
Hold on. I need to make sure that I said Big East. Yeah, okay, yeah, they are in the Big East. Because I was gonna sound like a big time non-ball knower if I was wrong. I was Marquette.
Okay, no clue on that one. I this one I got for you. I think this one's kind of easy. I'm assuming you know it, but it's relevant because Drake May is going to the Super Bowl. But how about his brother Luke?
I think I gave this one to you.
Did you get okay? I couldn't remember if you gave this one already. Yeah. All right, then give me the answer just to make sure you remember.
Yeah, UNC. All I saw all 5 I think he has 5 brothers total, including himself. And I think they all played college sports, football, basketball, and baseball, like, represented. Athletic family.
Very athletic family.
You wanna give me another one?
Yeah. Okay. This guy was electric back in the day. Not crazy. I mean, when we were younger, but just an electric factory. Wish he panned out. Marshall Henderson.
Oh gosh.
Do you remember Marshall Henderson?
I remember the name,
Oh,
like,
oh man, you got to look up Marshall Henderson highlights after this wraps
oh,
up.
yeah, I will. Um,
Short white guy could shoot it from anywhere and fired up the crowd. I know he had some behavioral problems, I'm pretty sure. Um, but he was an electric factory. So much fun to watch.
I wanna say Texas Tech.
That's similar color scheme. Similar, not the same, but like the red jersey is what I think of when I think of Marshall Henderson. Okay, it's
Well,
not a similar color scheme actually, but I think of him in a red jersey.
okay,
I don't want to throw you
in a
off.
red
SEC.
SEC, okay. Should I be going back to Oklahoma, double dip? I don't think so. But Alabama? Red school in the SEC besides
Well,
Alabama.
I might be throwing you off with saying red
Okay.
school, but I just can picture him in a red jersey.
I don't think I'm gonna get this one. What red jersey are we looking for?
Ole Miss.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Let
I'm gonna
me
have to look those highlights up again.
let me just triple check. I'm like 90% positive he was okay. I just double checked. I had to make sure he actually went to Ole Miss, but he did.
Nice. Alright, good. Alright, I'm gonna give you a Sam Hoiberg hand in the passing lane layup, fast break here. Kawhi Leonard,
San Diego State.
Aztecs. Shout out the Mountain West. Are they gonna be in the Pac-12 next year?
I don't know. I can't keep up with the conference changing.
I think they're gonna be in the Pac next year.
Good for them. They deserve it.
Yeah, I don't it's gonna really surprise people who's in the Pac-12 next year. Like, let me look it up really quick because it's a weird group of teams. Okay, yeah, San Diego State is gonna be in the Pac-12 next year. I guess the only real one that doesn't make a ton of sense is Texas State.
Oh, Texas State,
But
really?
yeah, but other than that, it's pretty much just the Mountain West plus Gonzaga.
State, you know?
Uh, St. Mary's will not. They are gonna stay in the WCC is what it
Okay.
looks like. The Pac will be Oregon State, Washington State staying, and then joined by Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Utah State, Texas State, and Gonzaga. For basketball only, Gonzaga.
There we go. All
What do
right,
you
hit
got?
me with another. Yeah, I just hit you with Marshall Henderson.
I gave you Kawhi.
Gosh, my brain's going, Mounsey. How did I forget?
You're good.
Okay. This one, this might be more personal because it's former Big 12. I'll just give you that off the bat. But he was another monster in college, in a electric guard, Jacob Pullen.
What years am I thinking of?
I believe this was like '09 through around
Well,
'09, 10, probably 11. Do you even know Jacob Pullen?
I think I do. Like, if it's the guy I'm thinking of, um, you're not going to one of the Iowa State guys, are you? Baylor?
No.
I might be thinking of the wrong guy.
Are you thinking of Kenny Cherry?
I don't know.
So I'm pulling out some random ones. This is ball knowledge from your dad being a coach in the Big 12 in that time period.
I
And
like it though.
my next one is similar.
You're in your bag. Yeah, I'm not gonna get this one.
Kansas State.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't gonna get there. Let me look up a picture of this guy. David Pullen,
Jacob.
Jacob Pullen. Oh, by the way, halftime, Illinois 33, Washington 26.
Okay. They're hanging in there.
Jacob, is that what you said? This was not who I was thinking of.
He's
Yeah.
a beast. You can look at his stats.
Yeah, it was his last season in the league, he averaged .7 points a game for the Sixers, so that's big time.
Hell yeah.
All right. I'll hit back at you. I got a couple more for you here. Seattle Supersonics legend Ray Allen.
Ray Allen went to UConn.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Okay. Glad I got that
Bring,
one.
bring the Sonics back. We need him.
Facts. Bring him down.
Former 3-point goat Ray Allen.
Okay, I got another little bit tough one. Similar. I'll give you Big 12 conference. You might remember this guy just because short white guy, hell of a shooter, might resonate more with your old self. But Phil Forte.
White guy?
Yep. Probably 5'10".
Yeah, okay. I think I know who I'm picturing. Kansas?
No.
Tech?
Nope. He was Oklahoma State.
What year, do you know? Or like
This
a guess?
was so he played. This is an interesting thing about him. He was a package deal with Marcus Smart.
Oh.
They went to high school together, and they had some really good years at Oklahoma State. I believe that was, same time period, around 2012-ish. But he was like a 90% free throw shooter, and Iowa State was playing Oklahoma State on senior night. This was probably 2014, 13. And he had a free throw to go up 4 with about 4 seconds left. The place was rocking, and he missed it. And then we came down and hit a 3 from like 35 feet to tie it, to go into overtime. We ended up winning the game. It was nuts. Shout out Naz Long.
Do you know where he coaches now?
Is he Oak State?
No. Another Big 12 school, though. West
Really?
Virginia.
Okay, I know. So there's another guy, Keaton Page, who was like a very similar prototype to Phil Forte that was there right before him.
Okay.
And I think he's coaching at Oklahoma State now.
Gotcha. Last year was Forte's first year at West Virginia. He went there from North Texas.
Okay, good for Phil.
This should be a very easy one for you, but it came to mind. I was talking to somebody about something similar. I'll explain it. I'm assuming you know where Larry Bird went to college.
Indiana State.
Sycamores. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this earlier today because I've got just a love in my heart for the Sycamores because my sophomore year of college, TCU baseball did not have like that good of a regular season, but they ended up making the tournament as a 3 seed. The baseball tournament is seeded 1 through 4, but similar to basketball where there's 64 teams in, and there's 16 regionals 1 through 4. But TCU was a 3 seed out of 4 in the regional, went to number 3 overall Arkansas, beat them by 20 like twice in the regional, just smoked everybody in the regional. And then that regional was matched up with number 14 Indiana State in baseball, top 15 baseball team. But they couldn't host the super regional because I guess they have the Special Olympics in Terre Haute, Indiana during that weekend, and there were no hotel rooms. So like TCU couldn't travel, ESPN couldn't like fly a production crew there, and their stadium holds like less than 2,000. And so we got to host the Super as the road team in our own ballpark and swept them and went to Omaha. So I love the Sycamores.
Wow. That's unfortunate. They could have just like moved it to a different town in Indiana.
I don't know if there's any other baseball complexes.
That was fortunate for you guys.
Because you think about some of those Midwest schools, like Iowa State doesn't have a baseball team. Colorado doesn't have a team because you can't play. You have to have an indoor practice facility, and then you'll have to share with the football team, and it's kind of a nightmare for those Midwest schools. But yeah, shout out to the Sycamores. I saw you in Omaha that summer. We went.
Sure did. College World Series, always a fun time.
Yeah, highly recommend if anyone out there is considering going. That's the only time I've been, but it was so fun. You have another one for me, or are we good there? I don't care.
That was all mine.
All right. Sounds good. You got any last thoughts, messages for the people? One Hoiberg.
Beat Illinois. And
We
congrats on the new job. I'll probably find out what it is when we're done recording. And we'll let the people know what it is when you're ready.
I'll fill you in, once we get off air. But yeah, a reminder, I'm going to have to take next week off. So no new episode next week, but hopefully we'll be back after that, the week after. And maybe we'll go one a week for, the next week or two. And then we'll get back to the grind. We'll post the schedule, do all the stuff. But yeah, thanks, Sammy. Thanks for taking the time for the people. As always, Illinois on Sunday. It's already sold out. I was going to say pack it out, but you don't really have to promote people buying tickets anymore. All right. That's all I got. We'll see you next week, and we'll post on the socials when the next episode's coming out. For Sam Hoiberg, I'm Matthew Mounsey. Like, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. Give us 5 stars, all that stuff. See you guys next time. Call God.